Hello, and thank you for watching this video from the International Federation of Horse Racing Authorities. The subject today is modern-day integrity bet monitoring and betting analysis conducted by Horse Racing and Sports Regulators. This is a new report just published in November 2024 by the IFHA Council on Anti-Illegal Betting and Related Crime. And the author of the report is Tom Chignell, a member of the IFHA Council and an expert in bet monitoring and betting analysis in horse racing and other sports. And today we're going to hear some words from Tom about the content of the report, why he wrote the report, and why it's important for those engaged in integrity in racing and other sports. So, Tom, can you explain to us why your report is important? Also something about what should an in-house capability for bet monitoring and betting analysis in racing and perhaps other sports look like, and how should those capabilities interact with external resources in relation to bet monitoring and integrity. Over to you, Tom.
Okay, thanks very much, Martin. Well, the report is basically written to explain the importance of betting analysis and bet monitoring within racing and sports organizations, and why having the capability to conduct betting analysis and bet monitoring should be is a crucial function. It's very much focused on tackling betting integrity threats, such as betting corruption and the misuse of inside information, but also why having those skill sets within an organization can actually bring overall value to the entire organization, such as the racing authority or the sports regulator. While it's very much horse racing focused with the examples, I think there's probably some interesting takeaways for other sports which they could consider, or certainly food for thought for the other sports. But when we're talking about why bet monitor, why conduct betting analysis? Well, it's to really tackle these betting integrity threats. And in horse racing and other sports, those threats are predetermined underperformance to ensure that bets are successful. So in horse racing, if you look at jockeys, riding in a way to ensure bets are successful, i.e. stopping horses from winning races or being placed. We've seen that with recent charges by Racing Victoria earlier this year. We saw BHA successfully convict a jockey last year for stopping a horse on 3 different occasions. We've seen betting breaches, so breaches of the rules of racing of high-profile jockeys, both in Hong Kong and New South Wales in the last 24 months. But it's not unique to horse racing. That predetermined underperformance is the core integrity threat to other sports, and a good example would be the NBA this year, who banned a player for life for ensuring that his performance would ensure that bets are successful. So what else apart from corruption? Inside information is again a big integrity threat to horse racing sports. It's exceptionally valuable. If we take Hong Kong racing, for example, every single race meeting, we're highly likely to see lay offers, that's bets to lose on horses in excess of $200,000 US. So it's really important for racing to be aware of those bets so it can make an assessment of those bets. Are those bets placed because the odds are simply too short and they are value bets, or is it something more sinister, such as the misuse of inside information for betting purposes, or is it linked to, excuse me, to corruption? So being in a position to be able to understand and assess and then communicate that to the racing stewards or the matchday officials to ensure that the integrity of the event is preserved. The illegal market continues to pose a real integrity threat to horse racing and sports. Why? Well, I think the answers are obvious. A real lack of KYC, so know your customer information. Customers can bet with anonymity on the illegal market, and not just the illegal market, but lightly regulated betting operators too. There is no condition of license for such operators to actually report on suspicious betting and breaches of the sports rules to horse racing authorities or to sports integrity teams. And I think it's really all comes down to, you know, the reason why we do this. Customers who place a bet want to truly believe that they're getting a fair run for their money. And if they're not, they'll take their leisure money and spend it on another sport. So horse racing and sports need to preserve that integrity for the good of the sport and the racing authority. But what can racing do to protect themselves, I think was a question that you asked. Racing and sports really seek to create an environment where those tempted to cheat or go down that betting corruption route are put off from doing so because of the fear of getting caught. Now, to create this environment, racing and sports firstly need to understand the betting integrity threat. This can be done by risk assessment. Which are the largest operators betting on your sport? Who are the key operators to actually be aware of, to make contact with potentially, or to monitor? What are the most high-risk betting markets on your sport? And just being aware of these. This is a very cost-effective, cheap thing to do, but it builds that understanding as to what is the betting threat to your sport. Then having the betting analysis capabilities to actually ask the right questions of potential operators or gambling regulators, and put in place some bet monitoring or some intelligence-led monitoring. And then being in a position, again, as I stressed earlier, to communicate that on race day or match day to ensure that the racing stewards or the match day official or the match day integrity teams are in a position to act upon that information. Now, all this has been made far easier in the last, let's say, 6 years or so because of significant advancements to technology. Technology presents horse racing and sports integrity teams a real opportunity to enhance their bet monitoring capabilities and betting analysis across both the legal and illegal betting markets. Now, you can take very much a data-focused approach. This is the real benefit of technology. Capturing betting data, automatically processing it, identifying significant activity, then taking the necessary actions which could be communicating that on race day. Now, this might sound all very challenging and high tech, but it's not. Technology has made the development of these models highly feasible at low cost, which can be built and managed by the regulator. So while machine learning and artificial intelligence will no doubt play a big role in the future, the advancement of cloud computing and user-friendly programming languages broke down the barriers of entry into developing such models and for sports and racing to be able to process large data sets. These are cost effective, do not require large IT resources as what would have been needed 10 to 15 years ago. So racing authorities do not simply need to outsource their betting integrity function, but they can lead on it. They can build their own intelligence. Why are they in a good position to do this? Because they're sat on a vast amount of intelligence. They deal with the jockeys and trainers on a daily basis. They're fielding public complaints. They have the experts of their industry working on a daily basis within their organization, such as the stipendiary stewards or referees, for example, and they're sat on the racing or sports data themselves. They own that information so they can process it. So that's a betting analysis approach. And now a similar approach can also be made when you're analyzing performance metrics. So is there an unusual statistic, for example, for a jockey in terms of slowly away to leave the stalls? Would be a good performance metric. Now, these can be tackled in the same way, can be processed in the same way as the betting data. And by doing this, racing authorities and sports can really cross-reference any significant performance finding with the betting data. And all this can be automated. So if there's a significant finding on the performance side, can we automatically check the betting patterns to see, could it possibly linked to betting information? The report details the effectiveness now of building partnerships. So just taking that one step away from the actual technology side, but building partnerships, particularly within the regulated market with well-regulated betting operators, direct communication with them, direct communication with gambling regulators and other integrity organizations, including data companies. But having a single point of contact is highly important. So if a gambling regulator or a bookmaker wants to contact the sport to flag suspicious betting, they know who to contact and they trust that contact will understand what that conversation is about. So the report really does stress the importance for racing and sports to have the capabilities to interpret and grow their external commercial reporting. And to achieve this, they need that expertise in-house of understanding betting markets and how to navigate around the betting industry. Ideally, the goal for horse racing and other sports regulators should be to enhance their betting analysis in-house, including conducting intelligence-led bet monitoring. This helps grow the intelligence and allows for advanced analytics to be conducted in-house, such as those performance metric analytics too. So when regulators acquire the skill set of data modeling, it opens up a vast amount of opportunities for those skill sets to be developed on other integrity related data sets, such as identification of standout trends from performance metrics, which can be cross-referenced with the betting patterns. So just to reiterate, there is no one-size-fits-all model. Every sport has different resources available. For those sports and racing jurisdictions with limited resources, the report really does emphasize and provide clear guidance on building processes to receive information from bookmakers and gambling regulators and conducting cost-effective risk assessments across the betting market. While the more advanced data-focused approach used currently by leading horse racing jurisdictions will no doubt provide ideas and some potential solutions to leading sports too. Thanks very much, Martin.
Tom, thank you very much. I think we've seen some great insight into the report there. And just to remind everyone, the report is available from the International Federation of Horse Racing Authorities. It's actually on the webpage of the IFHA. You go to About IFHA and then find Anti-Illegal Betting, and then Papers, and the most recent paper, November 28, 2024, is Modern Day Integrity Bet Monitoring and Betting Analysis conducted by Horse Racing and Sports Authorities, Sports Regulators, by Tom Chignell. Thank you very much, Tom, for taking us through that, and I hope you enjoy reading the report. Thank you.